Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pop Council. This is a show where we cover everything in pop culture, whether it's Disney to Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, to DC. We cover it all here on this show. And of course, today we'll be discussing so many things. Falcon and the Winter Soldier finale spoilers, Secret Invasion news, Thor Love and Thunder news, Batman, Michael Keaton is back, Mortal Kombat, flawless victory, and of course, Shadow and Bone. It's going to be an awesome Monday. And of course, I couldn't do this without a proper Pop Council. So of course, joining me as always is my co-host, Jami Philbrick. Hey, Jami, how are you today?
Hey, yay, Wendy's back. Woohoo!
I missed you guys last week.
Oh, we missed you so much last week.
I know. I got to reach out to the ladies to thank them for coming on, and hopefully they will take the time to come on back and hang out with us again. But today
told them, I was like, you got to come back so you get some Wendy. You got to get the full Wendy effect. Yeah.
We got to do it like take two, right? We have to do it again. But we also have a very special friend with us, our dear friend Laura Sirikul. She is a journalist. She's overall just an amazing human being, and also, you may not know it, cosplayer as well. This is Laura Sirikul. Hi, Laura.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you guys.
I'm so happy we got you to come on the show. So for the viewers who may be meeting you for the first time, tell them a little bit about you. You're a journalist, aforementioned, but you've also just recently joined the HCA.
Yeah. So I feel honored. Like I joined HCA. I'm really excited. I've written for Nerds of Color, What to Watch, THR before, and Nerdist, and a few other places. So So this year it was great because like HCA reached out and I'm like, yes, I'm interested. I saw all my friends within it. You guys were in it, so I'm like, okay, yes, this is the crew I want to be with. This is my friends. Like I trust them with my heart. So I was really excited when I joined, and they were like, yeah, you're like, yeah. So I was, So I feel so honored to be part of this group and to be with you guys and to be on the show too, because like it's such a great experience to just hang out with you guys and talk about these issues and or topics that are going on. So yeah, I'm a writer, so I'm just here so I just love talking to you guys. I love talking about these things.
Yeah, and you can catch all of Laura's articles and everything if you follow her on her social. It's funny that it's taken a little bit to kind of get you on the show, because Jami and I had been talking about guests from the beginning, and you were already on the list. Like it was like one of the first couple of names I dropped. I was like, she's got to come on the show. And then when I saw the announcement that you've joined, I was like, oh, it's perfect.
Yeah,
but I was away last week, and I wasn't going to let you on the show without me. So I was like, no, I need to talk to my friend.
No, it's funny because when Scott reached out to me and he was like, oh, and I'm like, Wendy's in it, I'm in. Like I was like, I want to hang out with her because she's like we're New Zealand buddies. So
ride or die.
Yeah. Like I was like, she's my ride or die. I'm like, I was like, I'm gonna do whatever Wendy does. I'm gonna just 100%. And James cool too.
You're in for a ride for the
You didn't have to throw that in. That's all right. I know that didn't seem genuine.
Oh, Jami, get ready. Buckle in.
We're
going to talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Can you believe it? 6 episodes later, we're here. We have the finale. First of all, before we kind of dive into the little details, what did you both think of the finale? Let's go with Jami first. Like your just overall thought on the finale.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I've talked about this for the last 6 weeks, it seems. Like, I thought the first episode was a little slow for me. You know, there was a lot they were kind of setting up, and then second one got a little faster, and then, 3 and 4 and 5 were right in it. 6 was much the same for me. So I'll just say, Falcon fully becoming Captain America, amazing. Like, that whole sequence, the whole fight, him working with Bucky, all that, amazing. Loved it. Loved the speech he gave. Loved what he did for Isaiah and Carl Lumbly's brilliant performance. Loved all that. I've read some articles that say they didn't quite stick the landing with the finale. I felt satisfied with this story, that they wrapped up what they were telling completely. But I do sort of also think I know what some people mean. And for me, and this is, I think, we talk about this all the time, Wendy. I think this is part of the thing when you're really into the pop culture of Marvel and these movies and what they do, Sharon being the that power broker is something we kind of knew, you know what I mean? So that felt a little like not completely satisfactory ending, but I know there's more to come. And then the same also with Julia Louis-Dreyfus. So amazing to see that cameo in the 5th episode. But in the 6th one, it didn't seem like after that there was enough for her to do. I mean, it was sort of more of a setup and joke scene with U.S. Agent. Also, it was great seeing his costume, but I wanted to see like the actual U.S. Agent shield, right? Like I thought that's what he was making in the end credit scene, and then we see it's just a Cap America ripoff shield. And obviously he gave that up pretty quick in the fight. So I would have liked to see the scene a little bit, go further with that. But I obviously they're setting up a lot. So I loved it. I felt very satisfied. I watched the second time. Felt very satisfied with the overall series and what it set out to do and what they accomplished. I think it's just one of the problems with being like super nerdy and super into this stuff is that, it wasn't like a Mephisto guess with WandaVision. You know what I mean? Like this was like, we all kind of knew who the power broker was going to be. So it feels a little not completely satisfying, but I think it was. Yeah, so those are my thoughts.
What about you, Laura? That's great.
Yeah.
That's great, Jamie.
So I have a lot of feelings about the things, and I'll be really quick. I love Anthony Mackie's performance. Anthony Mackie, like when he was doing the speech, like the whole time I was thinking he was screaming at me, I went to Juilliard. Like I was like, his speech was like this, and I'm just like, Juilliard. And like it screamed at me, so I was laughing about that because he's such a great actor. So it was great to see that. I was disappointed just because like it wasn't as exciting as a conclusion as WandaVision, and I kind of wish that we got to see this first, and that way we would be more satisfied. Like, oh, okay, that was okay. Like that's not bad. And then we have WandaVision, which overwhelms, and then this is kind of underwhelmed. And I also felt like there's a lot of problems like where you're representing like this is Black Captain America and all this amazing things, yet you killed a Black woman in the series. So I kind of was like, but overall his performance was great. But the episode itself was okay. I'm looking forward to Captain, like the next level of like next stage of his life. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of Bucky. But it was just okay. Like there's issues, but it was like meh. I just wish it was first, and then I would have been like more okay with it. I think we've been spoiled by WandaVision.
Yeah, WandaVision was on a very style-wise like a really different type of a show, and I think the fan theory in that show specifically was just it was a lot more. People wanted to tune in so they can speculate this and that, and it was a lot of the stuff that was unknown, like who would get Fantastic Four here, Mephisto this and Nightmare that, we all had that. And I feel like with Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a little bit more straightforward. So I get what people were saying about the finale. I personally enjoyed it very much. I, however, would have loved to see them stretch it out to this for an 8-episode show. Then I think for me, it would have solved a lot of the problems where I felt like they rushed certain things or they didn't give us more time with certain scenes or characters to kind of flesh out their stuff. Like I would have loved to, and I know he's not the main focus of the show, obviously, but I would love to see a little bit more of Torres than just like 3 episodes of like small, because we know if you read the comics who he becomes. So a little bit more of that. But I think all in all, like Marvel are using these shows as little stepping stones towards their next big project. So like we can talk about Captain America 4 in just a little bit. And I think that's what these shows are doing is a lot of setup. So now that we've seen in this show, and also I think the airing order was different, right? Because technically this show would have been first and then WandaVision. And also we have to take into consideration of Black Widow, how that should have come out last year. And obviously it still hasn't come out yet. We're so close to being able to see it. But kind of speaking to your point, Jamie, you were talking about Valentina, how she was literally in, how you have this fantastic actress playing her, who, by the way, looked like she's having the time of her life on set. I was like, awesome. Yeah, She's I would play that role too. But I believe I'm hearing, I don't know if this is confirmed or rumor, so I'll just say that up top, that I'm not sure, but I believe she's supposed to also have a cameo in Black Widow. as well. So I think that's why I think her smaller cameos here would have just been like a nice treat for the fans, because technically we would have seen her again after Black Widow. However, her conversation with John Walker and giving him the new costume, which essentially is the same but black, I guess, hopefully sets us up for future, whether it's a series that they're going to use him in or in an MCU film. So I think very much is a setup, because we didn't get to really see how John Walker is going to be as US agent. I would have loved to seen that, but there's not enough time, and it's also not his show. And then to kind of touch on Sharon, and you guys please like interject and let me know your thoughts. Yeah. Let's talk about Sharon. Let's talk about Sharon Carter being the power broker. I said from day one, I thought it was too obvious if she was the power broker, because it all lined up. Lo and behold, she is the power broker. Okay, but I'll say this. I'll throw this wrench in the mix here. She never actually confirmed. She never said, yes, I am power broker. She made it seemed like she didn't deny it, but she didn't say, yeah, I am. So is she still deep undercover, and she's doing everything she can to keep her cover? Or do you guys really think that, yes, she actually is? Because I'm trying to figure out the timeline. If she was blipped, did she have enough time to be in Madripoor once she's back and become power broker within a short amount of time? I know she has a lot of connections, resources, but what do you guys think?
I don't think she was blipped.
Yeah, she was not blipped. It's been confirmed she wasn't blipped.
Yeah. Oh, because her picture was up on the screen in Infinity War. She was just missing?
Right, yeah, she was missing, but she did not get blipped. That's been confirmed by Marvel.
That was confirmed that she spent the 5 years.
Blipped. So that could happen. Oh, Sharon.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God. They're like she's like Agatha. It was Sharon all along. Like Agatha all along. Like and I mean, I was kind of sad because it's like this legacy of the Carter family, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Be a girl boss. But if there's going to be a continuing thing for her, then I'm fine with that. But a part of me was like just disappointed. I'm like, oh, I wanted her to kind of redeem herself as a hero, and she's kind of like, F you guys, look at me, I'm the hero. But this change, if they could twist it in the future, and I would love to see that, because it's kind of like the plot for Revenge from her other show.
Right.
And I was just like watching it, I was just like, are we gonna get like an Agent Carter but Revenge style? Because Emily Van Camp is really good at that. I love that show.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I think the jury's still out. I mean, she's definitely the power broker. That's confirmed. Whether she's, like a triple spy, if she's doing some kind, like if she's still on the side of good, or if she's on the side of, a selfish side, her own side, I think that's something that Marvel wants us to keep guessing about and is going to play out later down the line. I think from what we saw in the final episode, I think it could still go either way. It could still go that she's, using her power broker position for, because she's working with Nick Fury or whatever, or maybe she really has gone bad. But I think they want us to keep guessing on that one for sure.
Yeah, I definitely want the former, I definitely want it to be more of like she's deep undercover, and she is working with Fury, and we'll see how her story plays out in future movies. A lot of the internet is buzzing about how she may not even be Sharon Carter. This may be a scroll. It could lead into secret invasions. If she's selling all this like government tech and weapons and all this and that, it could lead into armor wars. So there's so many possibilities. Do you feel that you would feel that a little bit different about the finale if her reveal of her being power broker was revealed just an episode earlier?
You mean instead of an end credit scene?
Correct.
I don't know if it would have affected. I mean, maybe in the sense that then maybe we would have had a different end credit scene that really would have led up to something else. Yeah. In that sense, yes. But I don't know that finding out an episode before. I mean, we, like you said, Wendy, we already did kind of find out the episode before. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But the scroll thing, when I was watching it a second time, that definitely crossed my mind. She'd be a good character to be revealed as a scroll. Because it would mean a lot, because she's affected so many important characters, Steve and obviously Bucky and Sam. But at the same time, you know, it's not like all of a sudden revealing Tony Stark was a Skrull the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like
can you
that's
imagine?
like, yeah, like I feel like she'd be like a good choice, I think, and it would certainly give Emily Vanderkamp a lot to, you know, to act with.
Absolutely.
You know, and we know, you know, they haven't introduced Jessica Drew, and I think that has to do with, you know, legal reasons with Sony. So they're not going to just introduce her and then she's a Skrull because everyone will know. So it's got to be someone that we've met through the years of MCU. So she would definitely be a good candidate.
I just kind of feel disappointed if that's the case, because it's like, what happened? Like, that means Sharon Carter kind of got shafted, and I feel like she deserves to have a story, because, you know, they kind of screwed her over like other times, because, like, you know, it's just she was written horribly. But then now with this one, she kind of has ownership and agency over her character, and so I'm kind of like, I'm hoping that she's not a Skrull. I'm hoping that she's just a boss ass bitch, like, to like
just being a good spy.
Yeah, who's just a good spy, and that doesn't invalidate her as a character and the legacy of Sharon Carter.
Yeah, absolutely. And this show gave us, I would say, quite an emotional ride, because you're either screaming at your TV because you're looking at this awesome new suit that Sam gets to wear from now on. The reveal, because I remember at the beginning, he never opened the box, right, in the previous episode. And I was like, what's in the box? And then in the next episode, he does a flyby. I'm on my way. I'm like, this entrance better be grand. Sure enough, he comes crashing in, you know, shield first through the window, and then walks up. And I'm like, the suit! It's so good. It looks a lot of, like, it resembles the comic version a lot, which I really, really liked. I love that for Sam, he, in becoming Captain America, didn't like lose the Falcon wings. Like, that's still all a part of him, because that was a part of who he is from the get-go. And I think no one can use those wings better than he can at this point in the story. And I love that how he, you know, with the new suit and everything, getting to use both the shield and the wings together was definitely like all the eye candy moments that I wanted so much more, honestly, for more of him flying and things like that. And to you guys' point, the speech that he had, a couple of speeches, honestly, he had, you know, the big one to the senator and the GRC. And then I think probably my favorite is his conversation with Isaiah at the end, where I think collectively everybody boohooed when they finally came in for an embrace, when he saw his statue in the museum and was recognized. And, you know, not that it makes it okay what happened to him, but just that, I think the crying, just, I don't know, so many emotions going through, the release of all the anger, frustration, the being grateful that his story is now told, and like people still won't come after him now because, you know, they still on paper think he's dead. So love that they gave us that moment at the end of the show. Did you all boohoo during that scene?
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I love his acting. Carl Ludwig's acting. Like, I was excited to see Eli. So I think, like, yeah, I think the acting wise, I appreciated that.
Yeah, I would have loved if they decided to give us a season 2. Would love to see just a little bit more of Isaiah, especially to see where Eli goes in all of this. And speaking of like what is next, right? We all know, comic book nerds, we all know.
Yeah.
But I don't want to spoil it too much for the people who be like, "Well, I haven't read the comics. I don't know. Who's Eli?" He's just Eli for now. Speaking of what's next for, you know, the story where it may go after the show, we're thinking maybe we get a season 2, but then we get this announcement that Captain America 4 is in the works with showrunner Malcolm Spellman. With naturally, it would be Anthony Mackie being the Captain America in this film. I couldn't be more excited. I can't wait to see where exactly this is going to go. Now I know it's like super early in the stages of development. I don't even think they have a writer's room together yet. Casting, maybe like one person's cast, you know, whoever it is in the MCU that's currently existing, right? But no one else in particular, and we don't have a plot. But when I saw the news, I got really excited, specifically because they're involving the showrunner from this show for that 4th movie, so we can sort of bridge the gap and not be like, well, this happened in this show, but you're going to ignore all of that to put this in the movie. So I'm hoping that we don't have to see any of that, in the film, and it'll just be like a nice little here. This is how things are going. Are you both super excited for Captain America 4?
I am so happy he's getting the film because like you're gonna give us the transition of him becoming Cap, but yet what are you gonna do with that? Are you just gonna give him the Avengers movie? No, because he is Cap, and how important it is to see Anthony Mackie as Captain America. We need to see a film with Anthony Mackie as Captain America, and so I felt like it would be great to have the 3 films with Chris Evans as Captain America, and then I would love to see 3 films with Anthony Mackie as Captain America, just because it allows us to show people that this is your captain, like this is your new Captain America. You can't he's just on TV. It's like, no, he's in the movies too. He's in this universe, and so I felt like it was a good way to secure the bag of secure Anthony Mackie's bag too, but secure the bag of Captain America being a Black man. And so I am looking forward to how they're gonna make this into this theatrical huge movie. Because I felt like this one, I felt like Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier should have been a movie because it would have been a great movie. And then put it all together. But I'm looking forward to seeing Anthony Mackie as the title role, and he doesn't need to share with anyone. He is Captain America.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely wouldn't mind a couple of cameos from the show because he's friends with them, so it would make sense that he's not like a lone wolf. He's never been I'm going to do this on my own. Sam is very much the team player. Mm-hmm. He watches out for the team, the very classic on your left sort of a deal. But Jami, any thoughts on what you would like to see for Captain America 4?
Yeah, I mean, I was super excited too. I think this is great news. Everything we kind of wanted coming out of the series. These series in a lot of ways were sort of the set up to answer the unanswered questions coming out of Endgame. And so I think taking the time with this series to be able to get Sam to being Captain America so that when we have a Captain America movie, it can be fresh story. We can just start we don't have to, who's going to be Captain America? Is it, we don't have to go through any of that. He is our Captain America. And so I totally agree with you. I would love it to be a fresh film. I was also a little surprised that Torres doesn't end up becoming Falcon in this one. But I think
we'll see. Maybe we'll see.
Well, so that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I think that they were probably saving that now for this
Captain America 4. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that Torres, if he did take on the Falcon wings at the end of this episode and help Cap with Cap now having wings, which are awesome and vibranium, so they can't break. Mm-hmm. I think it would have taken away from Sam's Captain America having that great moment, mm-hmm. and that moment from the public convincing them that he is Captain America. He doesn't need help. I mean, Bucky's there and helps him a little bit, and the other Cap, but he didn't need help. So I think that would be really great. Torres can kind of come in, but absolutely, it should be the Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson, Captain America full-on movie. And now we have all this mythology, with the Bradleys and with all, and all this other stuff that the series has set up. So it could kind of go in all sorts of different directions. And I think will be great to sort of set up a new, Captain America franchise going forward for the MCU.
Yeah. Love to see that. And speaking
I'm
of
sure it was in the works for a while. I was just going to add, I'm sure it was in the works for a while. I don't think they I think they sort of had this idea percolating, wanted to see how the series did, how fans reacted to it, and certainly weren't going to announce anything until, they couldn't announce a new Captain America movie until we officially had a new Captain America. So I don't think it was a surprise.
That would have been major spoiler.
Afternoon. Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine? I'd be like, well, who's going to watch the show now? We already know.
Exactly. So so no surprise there.
Yeah, love that. And kind of staying in the MCU, we have a couple of other news too. We have Emilia Clarke joining the cast of Secret Invasions, the series for Disney+. There's no word right now on who she's going to play, but I see the internet speculating that she could be the Skrull Queen. I mean, she's played a queen.
Yeah, I mean,
already.
We had the Olivia Colman news last week, and we weren't sure what to make of that. So, yeah, that was also would make sense too. The Skrull,
We got
the
two
Skrull
queens
leader.
though, guys.
Right.
We got two queens joining this thing. Who's
Skrull
gonna be?
queens.
Who's
Right,
gonna
that
be
is
the
true.
main
That is
queen?
true. That is so true. You're so right about that. Yeah.
I think it's always exciting when they start adding, cast for a series, especially since we know so little about who they're going to be playing, so we can kind of speculate and have fun. I'm curious. I am really curious to see who she's going to play. Emilia Clarke, I loved her in Game of Thrones. Loved her. I think she nailed Daenerys. But to speak to some of her other films, I didn't love her as much in some of the other ones. So I'm really hoping that she'll get to, show off her strength as an actor. I think she's just like super fun to watch. Like I loved watching her in Last Christmas, but I didn't really love her as Sarah Connor.
Right. Me neither.
And I wonder if that has anything to do with me having a very cookie cutter idea of how I want. I want Lionel Hamilton. It's basically who I want. It's hard to get that out of my head when I watch these other Terminator iterations. So I will say the Lena Headey did a really good job as Sarah Connor in the Chronicle.
She was amazing. I love that they both played that, and they're both dragon,
right.
Team GOT's coming for you.
Yeah, like, but I'm looking forward to her being in that in the MCU, because like she's such a great actress, and she's already a high level star. So her and Olivia Colman, I'm just like, this is amazing. You guys got two amazing like actresses. This is going to be like prestige TV in my mind already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got Samuel Jackson obviously coming back as Nick Fury. Ben Mendelsohn will be back, who I absolutely love. He can play anyone, anything, and
He's the best.
He's the best.
Yeah.
He's so good at playing bad too. Always so good. So
and the thing is, he's great at Talos because it's like he brings some humor to it. Like I was like, oh, it's gonna be like the one-dimensional villain, or like one-dimensional character. Man, he adds so many layers to that character. It's so fun.
Yeah, this is going to be a great series, I think.
Yeah, and I'm not convinced that Julia Louis-Dreyfus isn't going to be in it either. Like, I think that totally would make perfect sound. Like, I can't imagine she wouldn't. I can't imagine she wouldn't be.
I didn't even think about that, honestly.
And also, we should keep in mind when we're asking, like, what characters Emilia Clarke going to play, what characters Olivia Colman going to play, we should be asking what characters are they going to play, right? Because they could they could be more than one person. For sure. So, yeah, I think it's great casting. I mean, it shows that I think Marvel is putting a lot of attention, not only in the Disney Plus series, but specifically in these Marvel series, making them really Marvel movies and connecting them to the films in a way that the other Marvel shows just didn't. So It's very exciting.
Do either of you have an idea when this is coming out? I cannot seem to find this information.
I don't think we have.
They haven't confirmed anything. Okay, so it's super early. I can't wait. My husband and I would joke about things that we would love to see, in the movies and things like that. And this is prior to like Disney Plus talk. Like this is prior to us having all of that. And all of a sudden now everything is feasible. We're going to get Armor Wars. We're going to get a Miss Marvel show. Jamie went bye-bye for a second because I think he got super excited. But he'll be back. Yeah. I just can't believe we, as comic book fans in general, not just like, speaking about, there he is. He's back. Welcome back. You didn't miss much. I'm just saying how excited I am about being able to have not just movies and not just have to wait between movies to see how stories are going to play out, but we get to, these awesome shows to fill in the gap and to satisfy our needs until we get the next thing.
Yeah, like I'm really happy Disney Plus is around, so we could have the transition to like more explanation, because the movie is only like 2 hours that we get to. It doesn't really build character to prepare us. So I love that the shows are gonna prepare us, like everything. Like Captain America and the Winter Soldier now goes into Black Widow, and WandaVision goes into Doctor Strange. So I really love these transitions, so we can prepare for it.
Well, and I love that they're focusing on characters that probably, there's not enough time in the movies to do what they had to do with this series to get Sam where he needed to be,
Exactly.
to have the, to see Sam's family, to have the relationship with Bucky, all that kind of stuff. Obviously the whole, thing with WandaVision, they just wouldn't have the time in a movie to set all that stuff up with some of these, supporting characters that we've really grown to love with great actors that deserve to be leads too. So I think it's a great path that they're kind of taking with these.
Yeah, absolutely. See some chatter going on our chat room today. We've got a Trailer Gamer who writes, Russell Crowe has been confirmed to play Zeus in Thor, Love and Thunder. Glad that you brought that up because that literally is our next topic. But he says, really unbelievable. And what the heck? So what is you guys' take on Russell Crowe playing Zeus?
Well, my first instinct was he's going to be in the stupid play thing, right? With Matt Damon, with all like that. I think this is a sucker punch,
I'll take
right?
it.
Like,
I'll take it.
And I thought he would play Thanos in that would make sense, right? That he would play
We just
Thanos.
painted purple with like a fake
because we know Damon's back, and I think we've heard that Melissa McCarthy is playing
Hela
in the So that was my first thought, and then I thought about, he also would be a great voice if they do Beta Ray Bill. He'd be a great voice because I would imagine that character would be CGI. Now hearing Zeus, I think it would be awesome if he was Zeus like in the actual movie. But if he's just Zeus in the play, I don't know. I can't get excited about it until I see it. But it is Taika, so the play is always awesome. So I don't know. I think the play is like a little bit of like but we'll see.
I think he's gonna play. I think he is gonna play Zeus because in the play, if he plays Zeus, like we don't know the context of that. Like the fans who like if it's like, oh, and Zeus is here, and or where did that come from? Like was that like part of the history? And so I feel like he is going to play Zeus, and it makes sense. He's Australian, or actually he's New Zealand. They claimed him, and I feel like Taika
is true.
Gravitates, like that's why we have Carl Urban and stuff. He gravitates towards New Zealand and Australians for characters, and I feel like Russell Crowe was just an obvious choice. Like we got Kate Blanchett, she was Hela. They like to like keep their Australian and New Zealand like buddies all together. So when that was announced, I'm like, I expected that, and I'm looking forward to it because he's always played the captivating strong guys, like Superman's dad,
booming voice,
booming voice, Gladiator. I hope that they make fun of Gladiator somehow, like in the thing, they'll make a little parody thing. But
in the theater setting,
in the theater setting, though, like it's just I just hope to have some kind of parody of that, but because it's Taika.
But you think he'll play real Zeus and not like Zeus in a play? You don't think he's an Asgardian actor? You think he's really going to be the character?
Yeah, I think he's really.
I hope so.
Zeus.
I hope so.
Yeah, I really think he's going to be because like Zeus is the god of thunder too. I think there's going to be a rival thing. Like I was before you, because like the Thor was the god of thunder, the Nords, but there's the Greek ones with Zeus, obviously.
Right.
So I feel like there's going to be some kind of rivalry, like between them.
So this is more than a cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. I hope so. I hope so.
I would hope.
You wouldn't waste. You don't waste Russell Crowe.
Do you
waste Melissa McCarthy and Matt Damon with cameos? Because that's what you're doing, aren't you?
But they cost too much. But they're just enough for a cameo.
They're just enough, and I feel like they're gonna be inserted. I feel like the players, the theatrical actors, the thespians will be in this one a little bit more. Yeah. I really do feel like
it's interesting. You think it'll be more than a cameo?
Yeah.
They'll really play up those roles.
Yeah, I think the movie maybe opens with it.
Oh, interesting.
Just like cheese it up, picking up from Hela entering and destroying the hammer and all of this, and cut to Thor kind of watching, be like, what is this? What is that? That's not how it happened. You weren't there. You don't know.
Well,
Can I give you? Oh, go ahead.
The other reason I don't think Zeus, Russell Crowe is playing Zeus in the play, is because when we found out Matt Damon and Sam Neill and all those, we didn't know they were going to be in the movie. So I think if they wouldn't announce Russell Crowe if he's just going to be like a ha 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 factor in the play.
But they did with Melissa McCarthy, didn't they?
I feel like they found out. I feel like
okay.
Those like
Yeah.
sneak set
It
I
was a
think
set
people were
photo or
Melissa McCarthy,
costume.
Because like it's hard to hide the hella costume of Melissa McCarthy wearing it. So I feel like that's the reason why it's like, okay, there's always gonna be like photos be caught caught from the set. So
what if Russell Crowe is as Zeus in the play, but then it's revealed that he actually is Zeus because Zeus is that kind of an entity where he likes to come down and hang out with the peoples. That's how we got Hercules essentially. So
can I give you my fan theory on Matt Damon in the last one in Ragnarok?
Yeah,
please do.
Okay, you know how they say like he was an Asgardian actor? No. I think Matt Damon was playing Matt Damon, the Earth actor Loki chose to play him in the play. He's not an Asgardian.
I believe that.
That was Matt Damon. That's what I believe. That's my theory.
I believe that. I can believe that.
Yeah.
All can be revealed in the Loki show.
Wouldn't Loki choose Matt Damon to play him? Like he'd choose a famous actor. He's got that kind of ego, I would think.
I'm gonna laugh if there's a scene where like the play ends or like you'd say, "Okay, go home, Matt Damon." Like,
yes!
Just like or
Damon's like, "How did I get here? Where's Ben?" Or something.
He goes, "Someone help me with the portal. I need to portal back home." Like,
yeah.
I gotta shoot another Bourne. Yeah, come on.
Well, now they're in America, so now they don't need to portal because they're set in the thing. So, like,
right. Yes.
Yeah, so like, can I get an airplane ticket back home?
Right.
Way. Like, I just think it'll be funny to have that kind of.
So funny. Can you imagine? If this happens, I'm gonna laugh so loud in the theater.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna laugh out so loud.
If that happens, I'm suing Taika.
We go together too.
If that happens, I'm suing Taika for watching the show and stealing my idea.
There you go. Taika, where's my Hollywood money?
No.
Oh, let's go ahead and switch gears from the MCU to the DCEU. Just touch on this really quickly before we get to Mortal Kombat and Shadow and Bone. Michael Keaton now confirmed to replace his role as Batman in the upcoming Flash film. So can you believe he is 30 years later, right? He's picking up the cowl, the bat ears, and the cape again to be Bruce Wayne, aka Batman. But this is going to be, I believe it's because of the various different timelines that was created while Barry's running back to save his mother from being murdered, creates this alternate timeline where then Keaton's Batman is protecting that universe, which is going to be so interesting to see. I am super excited for Michael Keaton.
I am so excited.
This is huge.
I'm hoping it leads to Batman Beyond. I'm hoping
it
will lead to Batman Beyond. That was my dream. When they announced it, I was like,
I think that's what I would imagine. That's the ultimate goal that they're setting up. And they've also talked about that Keaton, and I don't know if this has changed, but at one point they were saying that Keaton will become the Batman of the main DC universe because Ben's done. So I would think that's sort of what they're setting up. But I also thought this was like the weirdest announcement of a casting ever because, it was sort of dropped back at DC Fandom in the summer, but not kind of like officially said, but sort of basically said that was what's happening. And so everyone assumed it, kind of like the Doc Ock thing with Alfred Molina. And then like a month ago, someone asked Michael Keaton about it. He's like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a pandemic going on. I don't really know if they show me a script. I said I might do it. And then I was like, oh shit, this isn't happening. He's not a done deal. And then there are rumors they're trying to get Christian Bale to come back. And so he can be that Batman. And so now it's confirmed. But again, it's not been confirmed by the studio. It wasn't even confirmed by the actor, like in the case of Alfred Molina. His agents confirmed it in a weird press release.
Right.
I've
ICN came out with a statement.
Never seen that happen ever. That the agents must have been getting so many phone calls. They were like, we can't deal with this. Let's just put out a statement. So I listen, when the agency says that this is happening, I believe it. But at the same time, I feel like it was a weird rollout for the announcement.
Yeah.
Maybe they were just trying to keep everything under wraps. And nowadays with social media and everything, it's a little bit harder.
Maybe
sometimes
Keaton was trying to get more money.
We don't know.
Right.
We don't know. He does have a team working with him that, would want what's best for him, obviously. And he denied it too in the beginning because he was saying like, oh, I don't even know if I want to film and we are in a pandemic. I'm trying to, focus on that right now and
Yeah.
how I'm living with this. So it was just like and to me, it kind of felt like I think you're just trying everything you can to not say yes. I think it was already kind of a yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But he didn't get the he didn't get the green light from all the people that would have approved.
Right.
Like, yeah, go ahead and announce this. And finally, it's kind of like, can we say yes? Can we? We okay. Now we confirm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he's flying, where are they shooting in London? I mean, if he's already
No, I'm confusing this with another movie.
No, the Batman is in London.
Yes.
And then the Flash is in
here,
Canada or the U.S.
I think it's U.S.
Okay. Well, regardless, my point is Michael Keaton's got to be traveling soon, and people are going to see him. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, I think, Wendy, you're probably right that it was just like, waiting to figure out when they could roll this out, and then it's like, oh, it's happening. You might as well just do it now.
Just say it. The fans are going to be so happy to hear about it. Just let us know. And now, it's just something else to look forward to. I'm just really happy for him and to see how like now in the journey for Batman, like, he's gone through everything. And like, are we going to get a recap of what's happened the last 30 years? Right? Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's going to be really interesting to see like the two Batmans. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to be really interesting.
If we get Bale in this too.
Well, no. I mean Affleck, right? So Affleck and Keaton together. I would imagine they'll have a scene, and so it'll be interesting to see. Like, does we've seen so much what Affleck's Batman's gone through. How do they kind of relate to each other, and what do they learn from each other going forward? I think will be interesting.
That'll be interesting to see. Keeping an eye on this for sure as we get more developments on, the Flash movie and any other surprises that they may have in store for us. And you guys, this weekend was filled with so much content for your eyeballs. We got Mortal Kombat now in theaters and on HBO Max. So watch if you haven't already. We're going to go ahead and dive into a little bit of just a non-spoiler, your initial reaction, just so people have the time to, finish watching Captain America and the Winter Soldier and all the other stuff. But did you guys get a chance to watch Mortal Kombat and all its fatalities?
Yeah. Do you want to start, Jami? I'm like, I loved it because I love shirtless men fighting each other. Critically, there's I know a lot of people have thoughts about it, but I just went in there just enjoying men beating the crap out of each other, and a lot of them being shirtless. Like, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing the fatalities. I enjoyed seeing like people like beating each other up, because that's the purpose of this game of the series. And so I enjoyed it for what it was, like just beautiful men fighting each other, and this whole story. And like I love the beginning and the end. Like, I love seeing Scorpion and Sub-Zero's story. Joe Taslim, I love him so much, and so I really love seeing the dynamic of those characters. There's some stuff in between that was fine, like I was fine with it, but it was just like the whole purpose is just fighting and seeing deaths and then the bonus for me was seeing beautiful men shirtless.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It was what it was. I actually got to go to the set in Australia, and I guess in November of 2019. Mm-hmm. And I remember talking to the director, and he kind of set a really low bar for the film, which was like, it's going to be better than the 90s version. And that's like a really low bar, but they totally hit it. Like it's definitely better than that. Although he also set a high bar where he said he was trying to take Mortal Kombat into the MCU and make it an MCU type franchise.
Yeah,
I don't know that they quite hit that mark. That's a pretty high bar, but I did find it really entertaining. I thought the fights, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you want the fights, right? And so I thought the fight stuff was great. There wasn't too much corniness. I thought they tried a little too hard to fit in some of the famous lines from the video game. They didn't always feel organic when the actors were saying them. But I thought that the effects and the character stuff was great, and they really did a good job of, again, it's not, I wouldn't put it at like MCU high quality, but it definitely has mythology from the game that obviously fans will recognize. Non-fans, like I'm only like a Mortal Kombat novice. Like I kind of know it, but I'm not like a super nerd for it. So even for me, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know Sub-Zero. And getting to see a little bit more of, was it Raiden's story, right? Raiden's the one at the beginning, yeah, and then Sub-Zero, and that was great. And I loved, Scorpion. Yeah, sorry, Scorpion, right? Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and then we had Raiden, and then even like Jax was great. I thought Sonya Blade was great, so I liked it. I mean, I thought it was really good for what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it was pure entertainment. I went in and I said, if they don't give me fatality as it's been promised with all these red band trailers that we're going to get, then I wouldn't have fun with it. But, all in all, video game movie, I felt like the costumes looked really, really great. Definitely way better than what we had before. And I don't think that's an easy thing to do because there's going to be already a little bit of that campiness that comes along with these types of video game characters and their lines and things like that. So as the audience, if you make them aware of that, what this property is all about, and they go in kind of understanding that, I think everybody can go in and have a good time. You chuckle at the lines and, or you can love the delivery of the lines. My husband and I watched it together. There's one specific line that one of the fighter said, like as he always says in the games, I enjoyed it a little bit more than he did. And I see that on the internet. That's kind of the way it goes. Some people loved it. Some people didn't like it. And I will say it felt a little choppy because they gave us this great scene in the beginning with Scorpion's origin story and, that feud that he already has with Bi-Han. And I loved seeing that. And I wished that they took the time, if they indeed wanted to do this kind of like an MKU, like Laura said, I wanted them to flesh it out a little bit more. And I felt that they really rushed to get to this thing, but then we didn't really get the thing that they were trying to advertise. And I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about, I'm trying to keep it spoiler free for the viewers who haven't watched it. But so that part didn't land for me. But I loved the end scene with the two very iconic characters. And I love that they took some liberties with some newer characters. Mm-hmm. Well, one specific new character. I like that.
Is that Cole?
Yeah, he's not in the video game. Yeah. He's not in the video game.
That's what
he will be now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll probably be in there. But the thing what I loved is that they did right for what they did wrong in Mortal Kombat 1990s. The yellow face, the whitewashing of like the characters, and I love that this time they did it right, like getting all the correct characters and like the ethnicities correct.
Yes.
And I'll say like that was their biggest goal. Like when I said like the low bar of being better than the last one, like that was the goal. Like that was the achievement that they went for, and obviously like it just felt right. Like okay, you're righting these wrongs. So I really appreciated that scene, and I love seeing Asians just like be Asians and not
be awesome.
They just be awesome characters. Yes, it's a martial arts film, but they're still normal characters. Not like they other than like Liu Kang. Liu Kang, he's a monk. But everyone else was just like a character. Like Cole is just a MMA fighter who has a family. And I'm glad that they got his daughter to be mixed Asian too, because he is Asian. So it's great to it's great to see that they followed that trend, and to see that like Asians just like having fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to seen a little more of, is it Outer World?
Outworld.
Outworld. Yeah, I would have liked to seen a little, like I actually thought the final
Mortal Kombat 2
battle. Yeah, I thought the final battle would take place on there, but yeah, I would like to see a little bit more of that. But obviously mythology building for the sequels.
Yeah.
I want to call out one of the comments here. All the Asian characters were stereotypes. I would like to say that, they had to base it on the game.
Yeah, like the game is stereotypes.
They can't write. So I just wanted to point out, I don't think it was the movie's liberty to do that. I think it was because the game was created, oh my God, I don't know how long
but if
ago.
You know, this Cole was not. Like the new characters and the characters that weren't based on anything. He's just a normal dude. Like, yes, the Mortal Kombat world does have the stereotypes of like, Scorpion, Bi-Han, Sub-Zero. But when they added the new characters, like they weren't the stereotypes. Like Cole and his family were not. They were just Cole's just a regular dude.
Yeah.
Like he never had
Just
to
a
be
fighter.
like, oh, I'm a martial artist. So I appreciated that he's just a normal dude. I think that's why they added him, because they wanted to add, like, they didn't want it to be a stereotype, a nonstop Mortal Kombat. Oh, Mortal Kombat fighter stereotype. You know, like, so I that's why I appreciated his. I know a lot of people are like, why have a new character? I'm like, I appreciated his new character because it added, like, it takes away from the stereotypes that Mortal Kombat has had.
Yeah. But I think also, go ahead, Jamie. No, you go.
I was just going to say that, to your point, Laura, that yes, he was a new character, but I don't think, I don't want to give anything away, but he's connected to an old character.
Yeah.
There was that way of like, and I even not knowing, like I figured that out watching it. And so to me, I didn't feel like, why are you creating new characters? Because I know he's a new character, but again, he's sort of an old character reborn, right? Yeah.
But
which I loved. I was fine with the idea of old character reborn.
I just appreciate that. You know, I see he said he's angsty and stuff, but I didn't get that idea. Like he's just like, I feel like most aren't like most, like for us, like I just felt like he was a regular dude. I would know. Like,
for sure.
I would know from all my events I go to. I'm like, oh, I know this guy.
Right.
And he's not like a stereotype, like, oh, kung fu, like, you know, that we see, and from Asian history. So like film history. So I felt like this is just a guy I would know. Even if he's angsty, I would know a guy like this.
Well, hopefully there's going to be a lot more in store for Cole, because we did hear Joe Taslim has signed on reportedly for up to 4 sequels, which is not really a surprise when it comes to movies like these, and especially since the director has said that he wanted to kind of have his own universe. And why wouldn't you want to invite Joe Taslim back? Because he is so awesome, which also here's another plug. I need to plug this show. If you haven't watched Warrior Season 1 and 2, go watch it right now. It's on HBO Max. If you have it, it is fantastic. And it'll introduce you to a whole bunch of array of characters that you will absolutely love. And of course, if Joe Taslim is back, I would love to see, oh gosh, do I want to say too much? I don't want to say too much. I don't want to spoil it. Okay. I just want to see, there's a lot of characters that I feel like they can, important characters that should be brought back. Because I was real salty about a certain character, how the way they handled. I was like, wait, no, I'm not done with this character. But anyways, we said that we weren't going to get too spoilery. So go ahead and watch Mortal Kombat. It's on HBO Max. It's in theaters. Enjoy the fatalities. I certainly have my top 3 picks of my favorite ones that I will not spoil for you guys. But before the show is over, one of the reasons I really wanted Laura on this episode is so we can talk about Shadow and Bone. I feel like we're just going to go over by a minute or two, because we're both equally obsessed with the show. The show is now out on Netflix. It is based on the series novel trilogy. There's so many books by Lee Bardugo. And this series focuses on the first book of the trilogy, which is Shadow and Bone, as well as the duology books, Six of Crows, which I have not started reading yet. I'm only chapter 11 on Shadow and Bone. And I'll put this out there first. As much as I love and obsess with the show right now, I'm itching to go and watch it right now, I'm still really enjoying the book a little bit more than the film. And then the show, which is, I feel like typically that's what people, that's kind of, how they feel is that the books, because you can write things out in so much more detail, in a book, then you have a limited time cap on the show. But with that said, I think that they're doing a great job with both. Laura, let's go to you. You've covered this show head to toe. You've done interviews. What is your take on the show? So
I did not read the books before I watched it, because I wanted to have fresh eyes. Because I know oftentimes when you read the book, you're just you have this, you love these characters so much that you're afraid of the changes that are made. So I read the books afterwards, because I got to see it way before, 2-3 months ago. So I was like, okay, I'm going to read the books now. And so, watching it, I just fell in love with it. And and then reading it, I appreciated it even more. And I did my review based on that too, where they did such a great job getting 8 episodes and putting in Shadow and Bone and the Six of Crows duology and melding those characters that would have never interacted before, putting those together and creating these like amazing stories and storylines from these two books. Like I really credit the writers for being able to intertwine like two books, like which is really hard, into a really great story. Usually, like I'm not a big fan of fantasy books or fantasy shows. I hate romance and stuff, but this show hooked me. Like I really got invested in the stories and the characters. They did a great job highlighting it. You know how oftentimes like they put these two books together, and then you like either you'll get like the movies like Lord of the Rings where it's like this massive thing, like 4-hour movie that we have to watch. But I felt like with Shadow and Bone, they did a great job like focusing on each character still without like taking it away from like another character. With the Crows and Alina's story. So it's such a great story. It got me into fantasy like in general because I really when my friend actually was like, hey, can you cover this? You should cover the show. You should cover. I'm like, I don't do fantasy stuff. Like I do more superhero.
Oh my gosh, you almost passed up an opportunity to speak with Ben Barnes.
Yeah, well, I knew Ben Barnes was in it, but I was just like, well, I don't know how I feel about fantasy because I hate romance. I want to just stick to my action. I want to stick to my like. If I do fantasy, it'll be like magic, Harry Potter stuff because I love Harry Potter. But I can't care about the book. I read the books, but anyway, but it's like I was like, oh, I'm kind of like Ben Barnes before. Like I'm kind of like over fantasy, like when it regards to that, because I covered Game of Thrones and I was disappointed, and I was just like, I don't want to cover fantasy. Like, but then when my friend was like, you should cover this, it's amazing. And then I read everything and like the things I needed to know, and I watched it, and I was like, I can't turn back. Like this is this is my favorite show. Like I love this show so much. And they added so many elements of the Asian experience too. Like they made the main character who was white in the books into a half Shu, which is half like East Asian. And they added like some dynamics there, with her, character development and character growth. And they just did so much. Like they really got I feel like they got sensitivity readers. Some of them sensitivity readers about consent and all that stuff. I don't want to give too much, but. And really worked it out that I feel like they did such a great job melding it all together and making it correct that the books didn't get correct, didn't do right because it was mainly whitewash. You read the book, so it's like mainly white characters. So I kind of like that the world kind of like they made sure it was they did it right. Also, it is a sexy show. Like it left me hot.
There it is.
It could be because of Ben Barnes. Like it is an added thing that Ben Barnes, but I feel like they told him to be like sexually aggressive in each moment, be as aggressive just by looking.
You think he puts on his kefta? He's like, it's on.
Yeah. It's just oh my, he's just and it's he's like, hey guys, and then it's all brooding sexiness coming out. And so I and then they got Alina and another character, Mal. That energy between them is so natural and the chemistry is so strong that I was hit. I was just because I hate romance. I was thinking, I'm going to hate this. Because I hate love. No one hurt me. I just hate romance. If it's a romantic comedy, Crazy Rich Asians, I'll love that because it is a romantic comedy. But if you give me fantasy, action, Marvel, if there's romance in Marvel, I'm like, ugh. But I hate romance. And so this film, I'm like, I want this more than anything. I want them together. Yeah. I love this. Oh my God, what is this feeling? I felt like my cold heart was warming up and it felt horrible. But good, but horrible too. But this series left me hot and left me feeling emotionally love.
Attached to it.
Yeah. I feel attached to the characters, relationships. And I'm like, oh, this is not like me. I hate it and I love it at the same time.
Amazing. Jami, you got to dive into a couple of episodes yourself. Your thoughts on the episodes so far?
I did. I don't want to rain on anyone's parade. I didn't really dig it myself. I don't think this is for me. I don't think I'm the target audience. I haven't read the books. It wasn't even really on my radar, but I watched the first 3 episodes. First one I could kind of barely get through was everything just to say you got to watch 2 more. I will say that I thought the action kind of and the story kind of sped up in the second and third, which I enjoyed. And I think the lead actress is very, very good. Mm-hmm. She is very good. I like her a lot. Ben Barnes.
You didn't feel the energy?
Ben Barnes.
You didn't feel like the energy shoot at your face? Like, oh my God. Like, I felt like I was watching. I'm like, ugh.
Ben Barnes is an actor. He's an actor, and he's an actor. And so, I mean, it was okay. I probably will not force myself to watch anymore, but I'm glad that you both enjoy it so much.
Yeah, I'm like currently obsessed with it right now, and I was just worried when I first saw the trailer. I was like, I'm really liking this, but I worry sometimes with fantasy books adaptation is can they get it right? So in the comments in one of my videos talking about the show was that specifically asking to the readers, fans of the books, how does this trailer look to you? Does it look like they're doing it right? Because I don't know about you guys, but when I read, specifically with Lord of the Rings, I did this a lot, is I would visualize that scene. And a lot of the times kind of thinking back to certain scenes, I'm like, man, that really matched up very close to what I had in my head. And I wanted to know from the readers and the fans of the book if the trailer seeing that did it for them. And it was an overwhelmingly positive reply. So I was like, okay, fantastic. I can't wait. And then I looked at the cast. I was like, Ben Barnes, I loved him in almost everything that he's in. And I remember him playing Jigsaw, and I was like, oh, he's going to be the Darkling. Like, you know, how much of it is going to, is there resemblances and whatnot? It's obviously completely different, but super obsessed with the show. After we're done here, I'm probably going to finish off episode 4 and then just push on through for the rest of them.
Can I ask a quick question? Is this what we call steampunk? Is that steampunk?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. But Ben Barnes.
This is how would you categorize this?
Fantasy, just fantasy. Like,
just fantasy.
But it's not rooted in any steampunk thing.
So it's YA. There's no, like, Game of Thrones is more adult. I hate when people compare Game of Thrones with this show because it's nothing like this. Like, Game of Thrones is an adult book.
It's rated mild for mature.
Yeah, it's very adult.
Right.
But Shadow and Bones is YA, so it doesn't have the the topics that are disturbing or can be disturbing for people. So that's what another thing that I appreciated that Shadow and Bone, because it's like it's not problematic of the adult elements of Game of Thrones, but it was intriguing for me to continue watching. But I also have to let you know, like, Lee Bardugo fan casted Ben Barnes in 2013 for this role. And she was like, oh, if Ben Barnes was
She manifested, and she did a Simu, and she did it.
Yeah, all the fans were like, Ben Barnes would be perfect, with his, like, dark eyes, demon eyes, like, as Darkling, and, like, just his swagger, that he would be perfect. And, like, the whole cast, like, I just love that. Like, even the Crows, they really did a great job getting actors who just embody these characters. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it. It's just, honestly, like, every time, like, people were like, oh, how do you describe it? I'm like, it's just incredibly sexy. Like, every characters are charismatic. But they're just charismatic. And
they are. Even the 6 of Crow characters.
The chemistry is just so great. Like, they have such great chemistry with each other that I'm just like, when one has feelings for the other, like, you just feel it. And that's why I'm like, this is so sexy. There's so much sexual tension that you just feel it at the end of the day.
Well, don't give away too much. I'm still not all the way through. But once I'm all the way through, I'll be texting Laura.
Prepare your body if you are, because it's for the female gaze, or, for the male, like, focus on males, like, relationship. It's for the female gaze, or the woman gaze. I don't want to, like, take it away from anyone, but, like, the series is, like, it has that focus where it's like it captures, and it's a YA, so that, like, if you're like Jami, like, you're not going to be enticed by, like, the relationships and be invested in that. Yeah.
Keep in mind that when you're watching this show, it is YA, but take it for what it is, watch it, determine for yourself if it's for you. Obviously, we have our own opinions, but we want to kind of go ahead and share that with you guys. With that said, we have come to the end of our episode. Thank you so much for going a little overtime, you guys. Jami and Laura, it's always fun talking nerdy stuff with all of you. We'll go ahead and start with Laura. Where can everybody find you on social media?
Oh yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I'm always tweeting my work and the stuff my opinions on things. At Sirikul. There we go. You can always find me there, and I write for What to Watch. I do weekly kung fu reviews for that one, and also I do interviews and all that stuff on the Nerds of Color as well, like weekly. But yeah, but I write for a whole bunch of different places, so I always tweet it out.
She sure does, and I always retweet. And Jami, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Philbrick, and on Facebook at my name.
And you can find me everywhere at just my name, Wendy Lee Szany, right here, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, wherever. Well, YouTube is actually the movie couple. I guess if you type in Wendy Lee Szany, you may not get all the videos. But with that said, for everyone who's watching, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed our nerdy conversations. Don't forget that we're just one of the few shows here on the HCA network. We have Horrifically Horrifying coming up this Wednesday at 11 a.m. with Heather Wixon and Kevin Taft. We have What to Stream. That is on, I think, Thursday at 11 a.m. Of course, What's Trending in Hollywood every Friday at 11 a.m. as well, hosted by Scott Benzel. You guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Laura, for your time. And we will catch you.
Guys.
You have to come back. Please come back.
No, I love, thank you guys for having me. I love seeing you guys.
Oh, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Pleasure. The pleasure is ours. And with that said, you guys, we will catch you next week right here on Pop Council. Bye, everyone.